Hi, I'm Dacia Moore, and today I want to share with you some tools that I think will really help you. Today I'm going to talk to you about the anger meter, and this is a picture of the anger meter that is part of my Successful Choices Basic Toolkit. And I'm going to talk to you about the anger meter because it seems like we have a lot of anger and upset in our country today, in the schools, in neighborhoods, in homes. And the anger meter is one way to manage your anger, to teach your children or your students how to manage their anger so that they can make more successful choices when they are interacting with others. Now, the basic toolkit comes with a set of instructions in terms of suggestions on how you can use them. But by no means are you limited with the instructions. But first, let me tell you a little bit about the anger meter. The anger meter is a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being no anger or very little anger, a good day, and 10 being the angriest that you've ever been. Clearly, we want to stay away from the 10. But with the anger meter, and all of us struggle with the same kinds of emotions. Anger is a universal emotion. With the anger meter, you don't want to get above about a 7.5 because when you do, you move from being a logical person to an emotional person. So as an example, if you are at an 8 or a 9, you are in a state of emotion, your fight or flight response has kicked in, and you want to either get in there and solve the problem in an aggressive way, or you want to get out of the situation. So you walk away in a huff. But most problems don't get solved when you're at a 7.5 or above. Problems get solved when you're at a lower level of anger. So the first step in learning how to manage your anger is to do a self-check on a regular basis, especially when you begin to get angry, because that's the time to manage it, when it's probably between a 5 to a 7.5. That's when you want to use your tools, your anger management tools, to reduce your upset so that you can have the kind of conversation that you need to have to clearly get your point across, or you can decide to leave the situation because the other person is too upset and you're not going to get anything accomplished. You can probably tell that the reason this is so important is that, number one, it keeps us out of aggression. When we get to be a 7.5 or above on an anger meter, we are, like I said, we become emotional beings, but you also become aggressive, and you can then move into rage. And rage is very dangerous, because that's when you pick up a knife, pick up a gun, pick up something just to hurt the other person. You bust out a window, you bust out a wall, you throw a chair. I worked at an elementary school last week. Lots and lots of elementary students in a rageful condition at this school. And so I'm working with the school on using the anger meter to manage themselves as teachers, and then teaching how to manage yourself to the children so that they can learn. I mean, they're in school to learn. But lots of throwing things, knocking desks over, slamming doors, you know what I'm talking about. So the anger meter is the first tool in assessing how you feel, because when you can recognize that you're getting angrier, you can make a new decision. And I'm going to talk to you about what to do in just a few minutes. But the anger meter is a way for you to figure out how you're feeling. It's also a way for you to tell others how you're feeling. Imagine this. When my children were younger and I would be upset, I would use the anger meter to do a check-in, because you know, as a parent, you should never discipline out of anger. That's when abuse is likely to occur. You are too severe with the child. So you want to be more thoughtful and strategic in your discipline. Now, a little bit of anger certainly goes a long way, because you're getting the point across to your child that you mean business. But you don't want to be in a rageful state, because that is that means you're out of control and you're going to be too harsh with your child. But getting back to my point, when my children were younger, I would use the anger meter to do a check-in on myself. If I was too angry, I would tell them to go sit down. I'm not talking to you right now, but you are going to get punished for what you just did. And then I would go and calm myself down and get back to the child. Now, you know that waiting really bothered my children. So making them wait until you calm down is one strategy, because then they're stewing about what is my consequence going to be. So that's one way to use the anger meter. A second way to use the anger meter is to teach it to your children, whether that is your child at home or your child in the school, because that will help them to do a check on how they're feeling. And then you can teach them the same strategies on how to reduce their upset, or at least manage it. See, what I think is happening in our society today is people are just showing their emotions and they're not controlling them. And when you just spill out on everything, if you just say everything that you need to say, that could really cause some harm to relationships. And you don't have to say everything that you think. The skill of managing your emotion, of managing your anger, comes with practice. And using the anger meter as a way to help your child practice managing themselves, practice doing a check to see how they're feeling and putting a number on it, practicing not saying what they want to say even though they're very, very upset. So the anger meter is the first tool in teaching anger management. Number one, you can use it to do a check on yourself. Number two, you can teach it to your children so that they can do a check-in on themselves. And the third way that is really helpful is that it gives you a common language so that you understand how upset the other person is, and the other person understands how upset you are. As an example, let's say you and your spouse are having a disagreement. And you say, honey, I'm going up on the anger meter. I'm about at a 6 right now. We need to just, put this conversation to the side and come back to it later. That 6 tells your significant other, your spouse, your person that you love, that you're getting upset. That's getting up there. If you were to say, I'm at an 8, that lets you know, really this is not the time to talk. So it's a way that you can communicate to the other person, to share with them how you're feeling. Because I can't tell how you're feeling just by looking at you. And you may tell me you're upset, but the level of your upset might be different from my upset. So that number gives you a common conversation piece. And the fourth way that you can use the anger meter is if you have a person who is consistently angry, meaning that over a 2 to 3 week period, they're always at a high number, 8, 9, 8, 9, 10. That means that they are in a constant state of upset, anger, hostility, and they are not coping well with their life. That's really what it means. That person needs some additional help, either from a trusted friend, maybe a pastor, a school counselor, maybe a mental health counselor in the community. But that high number means that the person is just all the time, and they're not able to slough that upset off. They're not able to reduce their anger. So let's talk about some ways that you can reduce anger. You probably have some favorite ways that you already do. A lot of people eat chocolate. Some people drink. That's not a healthy way, but that's what some people do. But let's talk about some healthy ways that you can handle your anger. And I want to hear from you on how you handle your anger. But some healthy ways are, number one, to take a walk. When you know that you're getting upset, remove yourself from the situation. Go take a walk, even if it's just around the block. Getting out, seeing some other scenery, getting that exercise and that adrenaline and the stress off of you will be helpful in reducing your anger. Talking to a trusted friend, and not in the way of venting or having a friend commiserate with you. Oh yeah, girl, I know. You know, that's not helpful. But you want to talk to a friend who understands, who empathizes, and who can encourage. Girl, it's going to be all right. Just calm down. You've handled things like this before. You're strong. You know, you want to talk to somebody who is going to be positive and not, you know, negative, because that negative energy, you already have enough of that. You don't need any more from somebody else. So taking a walk or getting some exercise, talking to a trusted friend who will encourage you, and visualizing. Now in the Successful Choices Toolkit, I have a Blue Wave poster, and you can look at the video on how to use the Blue Wave poster, but that is a way that if you can't get out of the situation, let's say it's at night or you're at school and you just can't go take a walk, or you don't have the time to talk to a friend, you can do some visualizations in your mind to help you to calm down. So be sure to check out the Blue Wave video and use that as a way to manage your anger. You could also take deep breaths. Now, in order to take a deep breath, you have to do it properly. You don't want to hyperventilate, but you want to take a full deep breath in, hold it for a second, and then release through your nose. If you do that several times, take a full deep breath in, hold it for a second, and then release. That will help you to calm down. Even if it's from an 8 to a 7.5, that 0.5 percentage that you come down on the anger meter will help you to make better decisions. And from a physiological standpoint, you can't have anger and calm in the same body. So if you do things to calm your body down, your anger will automatically go down. What you're doing is you are engaging your parasympathetic nervous system to calm down, to relax, and to release. And then one last thing that you can do to manage your anger, you can have more positive self-talk. You know, talking to a trusted friend is helpful, but if she or he is not available, talk to yourself. Be your own best friend. Say things like, it's okay, I'm going to get through this. That's one of my favorite phrases. It's okay, I'm going to get through this. I can do this. I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to calm myself down. I'm going to make good decisions. Say positive self-talk statements that will help you, that will encourage yourself. I hope you check out my Successful Choices Basic Toolkit. It will help you. It consists of 4 posters: the anger meter, the frustration meter, the depression meter, and the Blue Wave poster. They're posters that you can put in your office, in your classroom, in your home to remind you to manage yourself. And I guarantee that when you learn to manage your emotions better, you will be happier and healthier. Because anger and stress contribute to high blood pressure, diabetes, and all kinds of other physical ailments. So do yourself a favor, check out my website, secondwindcc.com. The toolkit is only $10. It'll be worth it, because what it'll do, it will give you a framework to have the discussions with your coworkers, with your students, with your friends, with your children on how to manage your anger. You can put the posters on your refrigerator, on your wall. They're small enough to be inconspicuous, but large enough to remind you, I need to manage my anger. I need to manage my frustration. Those are skills that are learned, and I encourage you to do so because they will help you. My name is Dacia Moore, President of Second Wind Counseling and Consulting. Thank you for listening to this video. Check out my website, secondwindcc.com. Email me with feedback on this video and how you plan on using the anger meter and the other tools in the Successful Choices Toolkit. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.